Okay, welcome back. Still with me here and for the rest of the hour, Lionel, Emmy Award-winning legal and media analyst, talk show veteran, author, trial attorney, and he is so humble that he is a YouTube sensation.
Indeed.
It says up there you're a YouTube sensation with your channel.
Small engine repair. It's a long story. We'll talk about it.
Okay, good. And we're going to be joined now by one of Lionel's heroes, Larry Klayman, founder of Freedom Watch and former federal prosecutor. Good to see you, Larry. Thanks for joining the fun here.
Nice of you on a Friday afternoon.
You know, usually nothing ever happens on a Friday afternoon. We have some things to talk about today, Larry. Really quickly, let me get your reaction to Reince Priebus being told, thanks, buddy. Nice couple of months, but it's time for you to move on in the appointment of John Kelly as the White House, the man in charge of the White House, if you will.
I can only thank God on a Friday afternoon, Bill and Lionel. It was a long time coming. You know, I had sued actually Reince Priebus many months ago during the campaign when he was trying to cook the primary results in Florida. He later straightened up after I brought a lawsuit, but he's never been a loyalist of President Trump. He's a loyalist of himself and the Republican establishment. He's accomplished nothing with the House of Representatives or the Senate. He knows little about how Washington works. He comes from Wisconsin. He was at the RNC as chairman, and there was really no reason for him to be in the White House. I frankly thought he was an embarrassment, and I'm very glad that they got a general to take control. They need somebody who can restore law and order to the White House.
Larry, could you stop sugarcoating it and tell us what you feel? Are you or are you not a fan? This prevarication, Larry, this vague questioning as to, but also people have said this is the source of the leaks. This is the source. We're talking about leaks, and if true, we're talking about federal offenses, not just some little, some intramural peccadillos. These are serious crimes.
There have been a lot of revelations in the last few days. In fact, as Bill knows, I brought a lawsuit against James Comey, the NSA, the CIA, and others for illegal surveillance of President Trump, 156 judges, Supreme Court justices, other justices, myself. And in fact, this case is going through the courts right now. We've asked for a preliminary injunction. And just yesterday, we learned through a report of Circa News that the general counsel of the FBI, who was monitoring an investigation, running it on behalf of Comey, of our whistleblower client, Dennis Montgomery, who came forward with this information about the illegal surveillance and the leaks, that in fact he's leaked information. He's under criminal investigation. So this Obama deep state is still out there. It's doing a lot of harm to this country, and it's something that needs to be addressed. And of course, that's why I've been urging Attorney General Sessions really to get some cojones and to start to do something over there, rather than putting his head in the sand.
Well, actually, before I get to Sessions, I do have to point out today that Devin Nunes, who's chair of the House Intel Committee, he came out today and said and noted that he had sent a letter to Dan Coats, who's director of national intelligence, saying that hundreds of the Obama administration had been implicitly involved in the unmasking of hundreds of Americans, and that he made note of one person not involved in the intelligence community. He did not name this person. We could probably safely assume he's talking about UN Ambassador Samantha Power, whose name has also come up in this, and lots of people down in D.C. have wondered. So it's been a bit of a windfall for you the last couple of days, Larry.
It has, and in fact, I'm filing a supplemental pleading today over all of this because we've asked for a preliminary injunction before Judge Richard Leon. I've asked to depose not just Comey, but John Brennan, the former CIA director, James Clapper, former DNI director under Obama, all of whom violated the constitutional rights of American citizens, but this illegal surveillance. And now we've got Baker involved, and we're asking to be able to depose him or bring him as witnesses in front of the judge for a preliminary injunction hearing, which will occur in the next few months. So this is super important, and Congress, you know, they can do all of their machinations, guys, and they always talk, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, but they've never really done anything, and that's why this case is important, because we have a very valiant judge who previously enjoined the intelligence agencies from illegal surveillance, but they continue to do it. They're now, in effect, in contempt of his prior orders, and we're moving forward in the courts. You can see that at freedomwatchusa.org.
Larry, as a lawyer myself and a former prosecutor, could you answer the question, please? Where are the attorneys general? Where is the FBI? Where are the law enforcement agencies who are there to protect our rights as citizens? Why do we need, and thankfully we have you, but why do we need Judicial Watch? Why aren't they doing their job, sir?
Well, we shouldn't. You know, I founded Judicial Watch. Now I founded Freedom Watch. I run that. This is a terrible situation that we've had for many decades, because the people that run these agencies put their own interests ahead of the American people. And in the current situation, although I liked Attorney General Jeff Sessions, I met him when he was a young lawyer. I was as well. When he was U.S. Attorney in Mobile, I've met him over the years. He's a real Southern gentleman. I went to Duke and Emory. I can appreciate that. But he's not doing his job because he's afraid of the blowback. You know, he's under accusation that he lied in front of Congress. So he doesn't want to push too hard on this Obama, Clinton, Loretta Lynch deep state for fear that they're going to push harder on him. Now, he's either got to do his job or he's going to have to resign. And there's another thing that I wrote about in a Newsmax blog just yesterday. You can find it at Klayman's Court on Newsmax. And that is that Attorney General Sessions, I asked him to review the prosecution of Klayman Bundy, which is very political. It was started by Obama and Loretta Lynch. Mm-hmm. No, but they didn't hurt a hair on the head of anyone when they stood down the government at Bunkerville, when the government wanted to take away his land that his family had ranched for 150 years at the request of former corrupt Senator Harry Reid from Nevada, and Obama, who was offended by Klayman's using the word Negro and, in fact, talking favorably about African Americans in this country. But the reality is that I asked Sessions to review this. He said he would, and he didn't. And I kept asking, and I wanted to meet with him. And then just a week and a half ago, he says at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Las Vegas, he says, you know, I'm praising the courage of these prosecutors. They've committed all this prosecutorial misconduct. There's nothing to praise. And then he says, I'm not taking sides in this case. Well, you know what? He's the Attorney General.
What?
The buck stops at his desk. Take sides or get out of the kitchen. It's too hot for you if you can't do the job.
I mean, Lionel and I are both dumbfounded at this one. I mean, he is the Attorney General. He has to take a side, and there is a side that he needs to take.
But we're hearing this. We're hearing. We still have to go back to Hillary Clinton's servers. We're talking about the Awan brothers now, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Every single day, there's this message to the American people. If you're in this category, you don't get prosecuted. You are somehow imbued and cloaked with some kind of, immunity from prosecution by virtue of who you are. Some people get prosecuted, some people don't. We have a burgeoning prison population, and I don't know how they ever got prosecuted in the first place with this kind of activity, with the real crime that's facing us. Facing us right in the eye.
Yeah, no, it really is. It's astounding. I mean, I'm not quite sure what the problem is between the president and Attorney General Sessions. I mean, Mr. Sessions had a distinctive, noble career, and as you've pointed out, he's been around Washington, D.C. for a very long time. The only issue I have here, and have had all along, Larry, is that I think this is a man who deserves some respect. I'm a little shocked that President Trump has taken to calling him out so brutally on Twitter and in speeches. And in fact, Jeff Sessions was on Tucker Carlson over on Fox News the other night, and he told Tucker, he said, this criticism from the president is hurtful. Let's hear him say it.
It's kind of hurtful, but the President of the United States is a strong leader. He is determined to move this country in the direction he believes it needs to go to make us great again. And he has had a lot of criticisms, and he's steadfastly determined to get his job done, and he wants all of us to do our jobs, and that's what I intend to do.
So that being said, and I understand the source of your criticism, Larry, because you and I have talked about this a lot, but he is also the guy who is in lockstep with the president on immigration. He has been pushing forward a number of Trump's agendas, even though they're not necessarily popular in Washington, D.C. Maybe he deserves a little better. Beat him up in private. Give him a little respect in public.
I think it was really untoward to do it the way it was done, but President Trump's criticism is valid. With regard to immigration, yes, he's taken that position. That's popular among the conservative, independent, libertarian movement, in large part, and there was no risk there. But there is a risk when he goes after the Clintons, when he goes after Comey, when he goes after Loretta Lynch. There's this deep state. He's not even in control of his own department. 97% of the lawyers there are Obama Clinton loyalists. They donated to his campaign. Newt Gingrich did a study on that and confirmed that. You have to have guts. You can't put your own interests ahead of the American people. And if you're not willing to do that, and if we don't take the Clintons out legally once and for all, it's like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, guys. They'll be back again. And it's not just them, it's the people in and around them. They're just evil people, and they need to be held accountable under the rule of law.
Larry, for a point of clarification, the president, under his Article 2 jurisdiction, can tell an FBI director or attorney general to do something, not do something. Am I correct? Because there were a number of people who were just, they had the vapors. Oh, Lordy. I sound like Comey. Oh, Lordy. He's telling Comey what he can and can't do. Richard Nixon was one of the most absolutely brutal when it came to his attorney general, and the Watergate prosecutors never even considered that. So, Larry, what can and cannot a president do with his own AG and FBI director?
Absolutely. The Justice Department, and I'm an alumnus, I would like to say a proud alumnus, but I'm not the way it's behaved in the last few decades. That's why I started Judicial Watch and now Freedom Watch. The Justice Department is under the president. It's part of the executive branch. The president's the chief law enforcement officer. That's why Clinton was impeached, because he lied under oath and he was the chief law enforcement officer of the nation. Now, that may be a weakness in our system constitutionally. Maybe we need an independent Justice Department. I've advocated that. Maybe it should be a fourth branch of government, but it's not now. And the president calls the shots when he wants to. And as long as he's adhering to the law, there's nothing wrong in saying that we need to investigate XYZ, the Clintons, Comey, Lynch, James Baker, others who have violated the law. That's his prerogative, and he absolutely has a right to do that under the Constitution.
It is fascinating, and we're out of time, because if I start talking now and we get further involved in other topics, we will never get out of this block. Larry, it is great. It's always great to have you visit with us. It's been a lot of fun actually having you here with Lionel. This has been a very enlightening.
I'm honored. Between the two of you, it's a trifecta.
Larry, thanks very much for being here. Have a great weekend. Although, don't turn your TV off, because it's not Friday night yet, and there could be other things coming down. We will be taking up the issue of the reappointment of a new White House Chief of Staff, that being John Kelly. And we want you to vote on the question of the day. Do you think Anthony Scaramucci's language was too vulgar? What do you think?
Look at this picture.
Yeah, no, there he is.
Did you pick that picture on purpose? He looks guilty.
He looks guilty. That's why I put it there.
Maybe that's the idea.
We'll be right back with Special Agent Michael Cutler after this.